Nestlé. At first glance, the name conjures images of chocolate bars, bottled water, and comforting childhood memories. But beneath its polished branding lies a corporation that has been accused of everything from environmental destruction to human rights violations. Nestlé isn't just a food company, it's the largest in the world, with a reach that extends to over 190 countries. Its influence is vast, and so are its controversies. Is Nestlé truly the most evil corporation in the world? Let's dive into the dark history of this global giant. Nestlé's origins date back to 1866, when it was founded as a company producing infant formula. But the company's rise to power came with the realization that controlling essential commodities like water and food could translate into enormous profits. Today, Nestlé owns over 2,000 brands, including household names like Kit Kat, Perrier, Nescafé, and Gerber. Its products dominate supermarket shelves, making it almost impossible to avoid supporting this corporate behemoth. But as its empire grew, so did the allegations against it. One of the most infamous controversies surrounding Nestlé is its aggressive promotion of infant formula in developing countries. In the 1970s, Nestlé was accused of using unethical marketing tactics to persuade mothers in poorer regions to abandon breastfeeding in favor of formula. This wasn't just a marketing issue, it was a matter of life and death. In areas with limited access to clean water, preparing formula posed a significant health risk. Many infants fell ill, and some even died due to contaminated water or diluted formula. The scandal sparked international outrage and led to a global boycott of Nestlé products, a boycott that continues to this day. Nestlé's controversial practices don't stop at infant formula. Water, a basic human right, is one of its most lucrative commodities. The company has faced widespread criticism for extracting groundwater from drought-stricken regions at minimal costs and then selling it back to consumers at premium prices. In Michigan, near Flint, a city plagued by its own water crisis, Nestlé extracted millions of gallons of water for pennies on the gallon, while residents struggled to access safe drinking water. In California, during one of the worst droughts in history, Nestlé continued to bottle water, sparking outrage among environmentalists and local communities alike. Labor practices are another dark stain on Nestlé's reputation. Investigations have revealed that the company has been linked to child labor, forced labor, and exploitation on cocoa farms in West Africa. Reports indicate that children as young as 10 have been forced to work long hours in hazardous conditions to harvest cocoa for Nestlé's products. These children often face abuse, lack access to education, and endure dangerous work environments. Despite promises to address these issues, critics argue that Nestlé's efforts have been largely superficial, with little real change taking place on the ground. Nestlé's environmental impact is another area of concern. As one of the largest producers of single-use plastics, the company contributes significantly to the global plastic pollution crisis. Beaches, oceans, and ecosystems around the world are littered with Nestlé packaging. In 2020, Nestlé was named one of the top 3 plastic polluters globally for the 3rd consecutive year. While the company has made pledges to reduce its plastic waste, environmental groups argue that these efforts amount to little more than public relations stunts. The scale of Nestlé's operations means that its environmental footprint is immense, impacting biodiversity, water supplies, and the climate. But what makes Nestlé truly unique and arguably dangerous is its ability to influence governments and policies. The company has invested heavily in lobbying efforts, securing favorable laws and regulations in the countries where it operates. For example, Nestlé has been accused of pressuring local governments to prioritize corporate interests over community needs, particularly when it comes to access to water and land. Its financial clout often allows it to avoid accountability for its actions, leaving communities to grapple with the consequences. The corporate giant has also been criticized for its marketing tactics, particularly in developing nations. Nestlé has been accused of exploiting vulnerable populations by aggressively marketing sugary and unhealthy processed foods, contributing to rising rates of obesity and diabetes. In some regions, Nestlé's dominance over food markets has led to decreased access to fresh, healthy, and affordable alternatives, perpetuating cycles of poor health and poverty. Despite these controversies, Nestlé continues to project an image of corporate responsibility. The company frequently touts its sustainability initiatives, claiming to support sustainable farming, reduce carbon emissions, and promote renewable energy. However, skeptics argue that these initiatives are more about optics than meaningful change. For instance, while Nestlé has pledged to make its packaging 100% recyclable or reusable by 2025, critics point out that this does little to address the root causes of plastic pollution, overproduction, and consumer dependence on single-use items. Nestlé's story raises a larger question about the role of multinational corporations in our world. At what point does the pursuit of profit cross the line into exploitation? And what responsibility do these corporations have to the people and environments they impact? Nestlé may argue that it is simply meeting consumer demand, but at what cost? In the end, Nestlé represents the duality of modern capitalism. On one hand, it provides products that billions of people rely on every day. On the other, it is accused of engaging in practices that harm vulnerable communities, workers, and the planet. Whether you view Nestlé as a necessary provider or a predatory corporation likely depends on where you stand in this debate. One thing is certain. Nestlé's actions have far-reaching consequences, affecting not only its consumers, but also the global economy, environment, and society at large. As long as corporations like Nestlé continue to prioritize profits over ethics, the question will remain, how much are we willing to tolerate from the companies that dominate our world? Is Nestlé truly the most evil corporation in the world? Or is it simply a reflection of the system it operates within? A system that rewards power and punishes transparency? The answer might be more complicated than we think. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.